Minnesota lawmakers seek the elimination of private schools, adds to its list of wannabe fascist goals. Way to go, Minnesota. I'm Dr. Duke, she's Katie, and this is the Dr. Duke Show. Yeah. Seriously, they ought to make a Fargo spoof about Minnesota now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show, the only program that keeps you educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. Today, we're talking about colleges canceling commencement ceremonies amid coronavirus concerns, plus billionaire Elon Musk says you don't need a college education to learn about your passion. Duh. And students sign a petition to create, wait for it, National Fidel Castro Day, because Hitler Week is not yet a thing. But we start in Minnesota, where private schools may soon be eliminated. And again, we've had more than our share of Minnesota stories. And the argument being here is that, as a lawmaker proposes, right, effectively getting rid of private schools, religious schools, is that your kids belong to the state. That's his first assumption. Because your kids belong to the state, we have to make sure they get a state-run education. Everybody gets the same state education. Let me just start before the story begins in saying the following. They do not belong to the state. This is America, where your state belongs to the kids. They belong to the people. This is the problem with the story we're about to relate. Your kids, mom and dad, don't belong to the state. The government, the state government and the federal government belong to you. Take it back from these fascists.
What we're specifically talking about is the Minnesota House File 3658 and Senate File 3977. So you can look this up. It establishes that all children have a fundamental right to a quality public education. And this is what the language is that they're looking at. And it's a constitutional amendment, they're saying, that would open the door to legally challenging a parent's decision to use any other method to teach their child. And basically, in the article that we looked at it, they're saying how never in our nation's history has the government had the authority to decide what form of education children must receive, and we have no desire to see Minnesota lay claim to it now. And as you're saying, it's the parents, not the government, who know their child best and are most qualified to make the beneficial decisions on their child's behalf.
Well, screw the parents, with all due respect, in this regard. I mean, you live in Minnesota. How many of you voted for this crap or would vote for it? I go back to the Constitution, which overrides you, mom and dad, right? Or you lawmakers, right? You want to go ahead, lawmaker, and force the elimination of private schools? The Constitution's going to stop you from doing that. God bless it. Here's the thing, mom and dad. I remind you again that your government belongs to you. They work for you. You don't work for them. And look at the opening sentences of House File 3658 and Senate File 3977. It establishes that, quote, all children have a fundamental right to a quality public education. Tell me when in the last 50 years that quality has been a word you can actually attach to federal government. So if they can't even do the quality now, they cannot provide quality. The quality is going down. It's getting worse. Your kids are learning less. They're doing more poorly than ever before. In Minnesota, still less than 40% of kids, right, are reading and doing math at grade level like everywhere else in this country. If you can't do quality, don't you dare tell me that you have to be my only choice. Maybe we'll consider allowing you to have a monopoly on education when you can get every kid in your schools literate for all the money we're sending you. So don't even bother with this garbage. You can't even fulfill the quality aspect of this. Quit pretending you're going to eliminate everybody else.
And we know quality is a subjective term, and it's measured differently by every person. And there is no way that you can argue that every school is going to be of quality because, as you said, we don't even know what that is defined as.
What does quality mean to liberal Minnesota legislators? It means transgender education in kindergarten, and it means global warming emphasis in science classes, and it means breaking down racism and prejudice. It's not about math and English and science anymore, right? So it means how woke are you is what a quality education means. So you're going to take a woke education, replace a real one with a woke one, then you're going to force every kid in the country to do it. How is this not what we saw with the Hitler Youth? How is this not Soviet education? How is it that the people of Minnesota can't recognize that? Maybe all that gefilte fish rotting in your gullet has turned your head a little bit.
I was trying to think of something like what would happen with the Minnesotans. Well,
How you doing, Jessica? No?
Go back to Cleveland.
Ah, okay.
All right. Well, we do know what's happening on the college campuses, and it's not a whole lot because they're pretty much all shut down. We also know that they're canceling commencement ceremonies already at more than a handful of different universities. They're forecasting that basically May come around and it may still be college shutdown. Many colleges have already announced that they are going to this online format for their schooling. Maybe they'll do their commencements online or something. And a lot of them have said, students, you have to move out of the dorms. We're not sure about refunds. All this, everything basically is in flux right now. But it's kind of interesting to think when you talk about commencement ceremonies, no one tends to think about the financial implications on these universities. So in a way, this might be a good savings for them. Many of them have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars every single semester on these speakers. If you look at Al Gore was supposed to speak at the University of Michigan coming up, and he would have cost a pretty penny. Back in 2006, I looked it up. Katie Couric cost the University of Oklahoma $110,000 for her speech. But I liked at the University of Houston back in 2015, they paid Matthew McConaughey $166,000 plus another $9,500 for his airfare just to go, all right. And that's good now that they're canceled because they're going to save money.
Doesn't he live in Texas?
Yeah.
So how do you get $9,500?
I question that as well.
Did he drive his Lincoln Navigator to a frozen lake
and
sit there? Right?
Yes.
I don't understand it. Yeah, look, as somebody who's always looking for silver linings for the coronavirus, this is one of them.
Look at silver linings.
Get rid of the good.
So
by all means, get rid of the commencements. Stupid robes, stupid gowns, stupid left-wing speakers, a preening administration that gets up there with their little tassels, right? It's just a dog and pony show. I, for the record, attended not one of my graduation ceremonies. Don't miss them. Get rid of them.
He also burned all of his degrees, the pieces of paper.
Didn't burn them, just threw them in the trash.
Okay, I thought you said you burned them.
Well,
how non-dramatic of you. You're an actor. What is wrong with you?
Burning would have been dramatic.
That's what I'm saying. You're an actor.
I was cleaning out the closet one day. They've never moved from the back of the closet. I dumped them in the trash. What are you supposed to do with them? I mean, are you that insecure that you have to have validation for your education hanging on your wall? Like you walk into your office every day and say, oh, thank God, I'm still a PhD. Oh, it's still there.
What's on your walls? Everyone wants to know.
Paintings of great artists of the Western world.
That's not a lie. That's actually what's
on
his office.
Culture,
and your little dolls. Anyway.
Culture.
Little dolls. We're going to talk about someone who has lots and lots of money and maybe doesn't need to give these commencement speeches, but they would still want him. Elon Musk. He's the billionaire CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, in case you've been living under a rock and have never heard of him. He recently spoke at Satellite 2020. It was actually last week, the conference, and he had a young woman who asked him how colleges and industries can make it easier for students to afford college, but also be able to pay college and grad students well. And she wanted to know especially how the underprivileged can be a part of the future we are building. Listen to his response.
First of all, you don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free. It is not a question of learning.
Well, I give Elon Musk a lot of credit for completely blowing off the stupid, how can we pay more? Don't. His response, this is probably why he's a billionaire. Because he knows what's not necessary.
Exactly.
I mean, billionaires are people who have a terribly, terribly incredible focus on what really matters to the expense of everything else. And for 95% of the world's population, a college education is trivial, especially the way they're doing it now. And unnecessary.
Well, in full disclosure, he does have his own bachelor's degree in economics and physics from the University of Pennsylvania. He attended Stanford for like a whole 2 days to get his PhD and dropped out and then started his company and boom, look where he is now.
Yeah. And so Bill Gates didn't go to college at all.
Exactly. So, and with her part of the question, underprivileged can be a part of the future we are building. Go to the library, get on the computer, for free.
There's nobody in America today who's underprivileged. We are overprivileged, all of us, even the poorest of us, vis-a-vis most of the rest of the world, and vis-a-vis most of the people who've ever lived in this world. You have every opportunity. No one's stopping anybody from going to school, although perhaps maybe you ought to label public schools a detriment to education. I was going to say, everybody gets to go to school. Well, maybe if you're stuck in public schools, you do have a bit of a deficiency. Nevertheless, there's nothing stopping you from teaching yourself. Do it. You have every opportunity in this country. I don't care who you are. Quit pretending pretending that we have a caste system. There's the 1%, and then the great and washed untouchables of the rest of us who don't know how to open books, who can't walk into public libraries, who don't know how to actually access a computer to teach ourselves something. It is complete and utter garbage, propagated by left-wing universities. The sooner you walk, the better. Walk, run, don't walk to educational opportunities that don't involve 4-year selective public indoctrination centers. And look, it's a shame. I'm a university professor. Am I basically calling for the elimination of my own job? Probably. We don't do education the way it should have been. College should be about those people who it's about inclusion. It's not everybody has a right to go. It's not a rite of passage. College is for people who want to think at a higher level. They want to specialize, perhaps, but they want they're choosing education for education's sake. It is not that anymore. In fact, it's the opposite of that now.
Correct.
In fact, you're not getting for your money anything like the kind of higher thinking and higher education, the exposure to radical new ideas, even ones that might be politically incorrect, and not getting that anymore. So why waste your time on a college campus, especially if you're racking up $10, $20, $40, $100,000 of student loan debt to do it? Elon Musk, with his oddly heptagonal head, is telling you the absolute truth here.
And if you listen to the rest of the segment, he does say the main value of college is to see if a student can work hard by completing, quote, annoying homework assignments. And he does say the requirement for college is a degree to get a job, even with him now, is absurd.
Speaking of silver linings to Corona, I would love it if somehow one of the silver linings of coronavirus is we start accrediting teachers other ways than universities. Look, if you could get a teaching degree without having to go through the complete indoctrination centers that are education majors, you know what this is like, right? If you could get a degree, and you wouldn't even need a degree, if you could get 3 or 4 classes in how to basically do classroom management, even those are corrupted.
Oh,
right?
yes, they are.
They completely are. I'm not even sure you need it. Maybe you just need to work with a really good teacher for one semester and watch. Maybe we just do the student teaching, have somebody shadow and work with a qualified, vital, and successful teacher, right? You're an accountant who's retired, you're at age 50, and you want to spend the next 15 years of your life teaching kids? Maybe you just spend pick a teacher who actually is not indoctrinated, who knows what she's doing, who knows how to bring kids to the point where they can do what they're supposed to be at grade level, follow her around for a semester, and then do it. Get rid of departments of let me ask you, what would the world miss from getting rid of education departments worldwide tomorrow? What would we lose?
Basically, race, class, gender.
That's it. Which
they get in their English classes
and their history classes and their philosophy classes. So in other words, nothing, absolutely nothing. Maybe if there's a silver lining, this would be a golden lining of the coronavirus. Maybe we find ways to educate people to do jobs that they don't need a ridiculous 4-year degree for.
One of those jobs could be handing out petitions and getting people to sign them for insane days.
Yep. We back to the man on campus interviews, right? So we have video now. Students being asked to sign a petition to create a national Fidel Castro Day, right? I mean, apparently, like I said before, Hitler weekend and Mussolini fascist day, right? The day we get together like President's Day and celebrate all the fascists on one day. Those apparently, the world's not ready for that yet. But a Fidel Castro Day, given Bernie Sanders' fawning remarks about one of the most brutal dictators of the last 50 years, college kids can't wait. And funny, let's take a look at this first.
We're here at the University of Maryland today seeing how many students we can get to sign a petition to have a National Fidel Castro Day. Let's see how it goes.
I'm trying to declare a National Fidel Castro Day just because, he was a religious scholar and his literacy programs did a lot for the country.
Because of everything he did for education reform and the literacy programs and all that? Would y'all be interested in signing? Yeah? I'm with the Bernie Sanders Students of America. We're trying to get a petition signed. Yeah? Easy? No questions asked? You just got it?
That's sick. I'll sign it any day, bro.
Awesome. Fidel Castro gang?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Found it.
Yeah, totally. Give shout-out credit to campus reform correspondents Addison Smith and Jessica Custodio for just maintaining that straight face and saying that they're part of the Bernie Sanders group or whatever. And that's precisely what happens. If you say Bernie Sanders, sure, yep, sign me up. Effing, yeah.
And obviously these kids are idiots because all they heard was Bernie Sanders.
That's all they did.
You probably could have said anything.
It's like Pavlov.
I bet you
Sanders.
if you had said Given Bernie Sanders' recent comments on about what a wonderful advertiser Joseph Goebbels was, I guarantee you those kids, they heard Bernie, they designed it.
They heard Bernie being wonderful. Oh, he did something. They don't
That's
actually
right.
know any.
They
It
don't
doesn't
know.
matter.
And so the real indictment on these man on the street interviews is not the kids who are calculatedly miseducated. It's the professors who in their classrooms are singing hymns of praise for all left-wing socialists. Che Guevara was a hero. Forget the people he murdered and his anti-homosexuality. The fact that Che created Castro's killing fields. Castro's a great guy. He helped people read. And why did he get people to read?
Literacy.
So they could read communist propaganda. Do you think these people were reading War and Peace? Do you think he got the Cubans to the point where they all could read, so they were reading the Constitution of the United States? No. They were reading left-wing propaganda. And so the fact that you got to blame the professors for this. This is the entire ethos they create on campus.
Well,
they've never met a left-wing dictator they didn't love. And even moderate capitalists are now money-grubbing 1%ers.
And they were teaching just like, Castro did the literacy program for his own gain. That's exactly what these professors are doing.
That's right.
So I kind of just made a comparison to Castro
Yes,
and these
you
professors.
did. Right, educating for their own ideological propaganda. That's right. But I mean, the frat boy attitude. I'll have to do that all day, bro. So I look forward to what's next. Right. I mean, how long before we get the chairman mausoleum? Get it? The chairman mausoleum on college campuses. There's enough Chinese money there anyway. Ooh. Did I use the word Chinese? Apparently now to use the word Chinese in respect to Chinese things like Wuhan virus is now racist.
All right, that's going to do it for this very long and stressful week. To help foster a little education to the millions of kids staying home from school right now, and maybe mom and dad, while you're a little bit extra stressed this week, we're showcasing 2 family videos on our Freedom Project Media Facebook every day. At 10 a.m. Central Time, we'll release one of our 90-second Presidential Minute videos, and at 2 p.m. Central Time, we're going to release a video highlighting one of the 56 brave men who signed the Declaration of Independence. We'll be doing this every day for the foreseeable future. So grab the kids and do a little homeschooling with Freedom Project.
And not only that, not only will you have access every day of the week to these free educational videos we've made, award-winning videos, I might add. We are also going to do on the Dr. Duke Show in the 4th segment every day, all week, 4 days a week, we do the show. We're going to do a culture corner, a mini culture corner, in which we bring you a lesson on some work of art or painting or some philosophical statement, give your kids a little stimulation. And while millions of students are being impacted by the public school shutdowns, our K-12 online school rumbles on. I mean, you got to love being an FPE kid because it doesn't matter what the other families are doing. Our families just roll with it. They turn on the computer, they get a live teacher, they get all the instruction, Judeo-Christian values. Fantastic. Please consider our fully accredited Judeo-Christian online school for this fall. We're doing enrollment right now. Request your free packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com. And let's see if FPA is as good a fit for you as I believe it is. For Freedom Project, I'm Dr. Duke, and she's Katie. Until next time, hail viva la revolution, gusanos.